a 2 stations on here. Now we're going to go ahead and just do a 3 station just to make it, so that you can kind of go with a nice long breath that's on it. So what we'll do is, these are 2 types of pools you can use. You can use these just as easy when you're done. You don't have a whole lot of money in them, and you can toss them out. So we'll just set one more back here. Now, so we've got our step process that's going along. Now what we're going to do is we'll set a shower up that we have for here. But what we want to do is go ahead and we'll take some coneage and we'll go ahead and we'll mark the area on it. What we want to do is we want to put cones. Find this line here where this little crease is. We'll use that. One side will be entry. This side over here will be entry. This side over here will be exit. It will be coming out for our decon. So this right here will be contaminated, gross shower, reduce it down to a soak and rinse, and then lastly we'll do a rinse to process out. We'll start to take our suits off and our SCBA, and the last thing that we take off as we go along. So we've met the criteria of it, what we put out. We've got we've met the criteria for what OSHA and for what EPA has. We've got an entrance corridor and we got our exit corridor that comes out. This right here represents the warm zone from here to where it goes back to the coneage. After that, on the back side of it would be our cold zone. This all down through here would represent our hot zone. Everybody good with that? So now what we want to do is we've got this built up and we've got them scattered out. We'll go ahead and move these off to the side if you don't care, and we'll slide those back. Now, once we've got this kind of set up, we'll start to put the rest of our tools and our equipment that's in there. So if you want to take these and you can line some cones up across there, just kind of to let them go in and out, and back here, there you go, on the sides. And then we'll mark them across the back side of it there. And that'll let anybody know that this right here is the warm zone that's on it, and anything past this is our hot zone. We can use, if it's a large enough instance, we can use tape that marks it. They've got tape out that says hot zone on them, warm zone on them. Those are really handy to be able to use. Okay, so we've got this marked off. Now, what we want to do is on this, we want to take the corners, and we'll take the corner and we'll pull it over. Each one of the corners, we'll fill it back to about here where my foot is. Okay? Sir, if you'll grab that. Billy, you got that? Yep, just fold it just like this. See, about that far over.
Every corner.
Someone get this corner over here and do the same thing. You're gonna have to move these off on it just a little bit. Okay. Now what we want to do is we want to get the group and make about two rolls on this. 1, 2 rolls on it. We're going to do the same thing on all the corners. Basically what I'm doing is making a containment, a dock area for it. So go ahead and make a couple of rolls up on it. Just a couple of them in. 1, 2. Now once you get them together and you've made a couple of rolls, you'll grab this end piece here and you'll tilt it back. So we'll pull this back and just set it right underneath of it. So basically what we've done is we've made a little berm area that anything that comes off of it, there you go, we'll just set this in there. Anything that rolls out of this is a catch basin for us. See how that makes a nice little area for you to be able to do that? So once we've got that done, we'll set our cones along the edge of it. By setting the cones along the edge of it, it also makes a warning line for us to be able to see so we don't trip our feet on it and those type of items are there. Once we got that, feel pretty good about it, everybody? Just needs to curl up enough. Sometimes you can put 2 befores in it and roll them up, but for the most part, this right here is a pretty effective method to be able to do it. Okay, so we've got that put together. Good deal. So we've got our tool drop, we've got our suit, our SCBA drop, and now we've got our water basin spool. So the next thing we want to do is we want to go ahead and develop our water supply that we'll have. Now we probably don't have a water hookup out here, so we'll run the system dry. That's not a problem. It's on here. So from here, what we want to do is, you remember upstairs? You remember upstairs when they had the sprayers? The sprayers that we would use are in the second stage of this. This would have, for sulfuric acid that we're going to be using, what are we going to have in these sprayers? Soap and water. So we'll put a couple squirts of soap into it, fill it up with water. We can pump it and spray the soapy water on them, and then we can rinse them off with hose line. Now, what we have for you to use has a little bit of a scrub. We've got brushes. Now you'll notice these brushes are pretty soft. That's what you want. You don't want a hard bristly brush. And you want to make sure when you're using these on somebody that you remember there's a person inside there, right? So when you go to scrub them down, you know what I mean? When you go to scrub them down, you want to take care of that. So I'll lay these off to the side. Now we want to develop our water supply, so we're going to have to hook up the water system so we can have some hoses. So if I can get somebody to take these, one of these will be a water supply. I have a water bin that we'll use. Okay, this is the water bin. So if that's a supply hose, we'll bring it into here, right? We'll thread it in to the bin. If we had water and it's not going to create drip hazard, sure, man.
The way if you're crossing that floor like that, then what they going to do with it?
All right. Now, if I can get one of you guys to come up and take this, we want to stretch this down a little bit because we're going to need to supply a shower and we're going to need to supply some water hoses with spray. And what we try to do is try to make sure we keep these to where they're not a tripping hazard for us.
You're going to have to have another hose on top of that.
Okay, we know we're going to have one here. This is before our shower. And we know we're going to have some water hose action here.
Give yourself a couple more inches.
All right.
Yeah, crescent wrenches. It's two big ones, the biggest ones you can get.
Sprayer, and we may have to have a little longer supply that comes out of it. There we go. It almost looks like it was designed for this place, doesn't it?
What do you do if you don't have a water?
What's that?
What do you do if you don't have a water supply?
You have to get a water supply. So what you can do is you can get water brought in, take one of your pools and dump the water into it, and you can put in a sump pump that'll pump it off for you. That's one of the things that you can use for it. You can drop a little pump into it. Okay, so I have water nozzle for here. So we're going to need at least that one spray. So we'll set this up. If I can get somebody to, you guys have the water bin that's on there?
I got it all blocked off. I hope there's nobody wrong.
Awesome. We've got some more coats here too, guys. If you want to take some of those safety coats and mark that so no one trips over that, that'll be awesome.
Worried about missing my job.
Job and shipping, all those type of things are issues we want to look at. So we'll go ahead and we'll set that up. Now, one of the things you want to try to do is have that hose is kind of cooled up there, and it's not a bad thing. You only need a couple of spins off of it, so it kind of keeps it out of everybody's way. So we've got a spray system here for our scrub and our rinse. Okay, the next thing we want to do is we want to establish our shower. Now, in the bag there is the shower, and it's color-coded. The color coding on it says what goes together. So you want to go ahead and get that hooked up so we'll have a water supply from the thief. The water thief, that is, right? Okay, so you can pull that out. What we like to do is go ahead and build it out here, then we'll pick it up and set it in. So you may want to have a couple of guys come over and help with the color coding system that puts it together. You'll notice that's the supply inlet for it. So when we set this in here, we want to try to turn our supply inlet to this side over here. That way we can keep all of our supply hose on one side.
Yeah.
Green, right? Yep. Green, blue to blue, orange to orange. I highly recommend you can build these out of PVC, right? And you notice that this is going to be the top of it when you get it together because there's the perforations on it. But I highly recommend you look at a manufactured system that's there. This one here works pretty good, okay? It works pretty good. Okay, you guys are doing a real good job. Real good job.
Blue. Hey, you got blue? You got the yellow one right there.
want to make sure you don't cross center, guys, because once they're messed up, they're out of service with your shower. Okay, once you get that together, you kind of rotate it onto its side.
Okay, excellent. Thank you.
Yeah, you're looking for an upward on that. So is that right there? Yep, there you go.
Look, this is right. This one's got already got the pipe on it. Take this off.
That was a question they asked. You can set up one of the pools, or you can bring a tank in, and you can have you can up the water, use a sump pump to pump it off for what you need, or you can use a small sprayer. You can hook it up and run a small sprayer. There you go. Yeah, once you
get that top one up there.
you can lean it down because this is actually the top of it anyway, so you're going to be leaning it down to put that in. So once you get it, you want to move it as a unit, right? That way you don't break any of the pieces that are on there. Yeah, it is. You'll set it into here. So you guys want to go ahead and as a unit, so you don't break it, you'll go ahead and lay it over to the side. You got some tall guys down here that are going to. Our vertically challenged side is not doing so well with it, so they're going to have to work it. Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, I need to do this one.
Hey, before you hook any of that up, this right here is the bottom that goes in there, and that's the top. So you're going to rotate it over it.
Put it over there.
Yep, there you go.
I was, but y'all got it on here.
Yeah, you get the downside of it. Yeah, just make sure you keep it from breaking. It's pretty tough. It's a pretty tough piece of equipment.
There you go. Just step out there just barking that directions over.
That's what he did. This is Decon Supervisor right here, guys.
Oh, is it?
Decon Supervisor. Yes, sir. Decon Supervisor. Okay, go ahead and flip it up and set it in here. Yep, gotta turn it around. There you go. You guys have done a great job. Now we'll go ahead and hook up our water supply. Now what we've got when we step into this, it showers out and it comes down on us and it gives us our gross decon. We'll make you one of those for the house. Okay. All right. Now we have some sawhorses. If you're getting those sawhorses, remember I told you about the suits. I told you about the belt that's inside of it. If you don't hook the belt up, the crotch starts to drop down on you and it makes it difficult for you to move. Well, even with the belt on, the crotch is what we call a combat crotch, right? It's lower so that you have movement in it, you can work in it. Well, your vision with the SCBA on and with the outer shield, the visor of the hazmat level A suit, it makes it difficult for you to judge distances and do those. So something as small as this looks like it's no big deal for you. You can come through and get into it and march right on through. Well, you put the suit on and you put an SCBA on your back, which changes your profile and how your weight balance is. That makes a big difference. So if you'll bring one of those over, and we'll set one here. If you'll set one right out at the beginning, and what we'll do is we'll go ahead and fold those out, and we'll set those down. Now what this does for me is it gives me a handrail, right? Now I'll take one more and put it in between. You can see it right here. Now what I have set up is a way for me to be able to put my hand on. Now, instead of me trying to step forward to make an entry into this, with my suit on, what I like to do is I put my hands here, and I exaggerate my step to make sure that I don't fall, right? Now I have this. Once I go through here, I hold my arms up. This is just water. It's a gross decon that comes through. I go to get out. We're using sulfuric acid as I would do through this, I would run through it for a couple of minutes and turn around. It's on here, maybe 30 to 60 seconds. A couple of minutes is probably a little long. 30 to 60 seconds. This is a gross decon, just to get the big stuff off, right? Then I'll take my hands. I'll step out of it, exaggerated steps, right? And then I go into the next one. Now once I'm in here, they're going to spray me down with soap. I'm going to help them out. I'm going to do this, and I'm going to turn for them, right? So that they can spray me down with soap. Then they're going to take a scrub brush, and they're going to be scrubbing me, right? Armpits, crotch area, back of the buttocks, underneath where the suit where the cover is for the SCBA, these are all places for it to harbor. My gloves, my boots, I'll take it, I'll turn around, and if I think I'm going to have trouble, I can put my hand on it, I can pull my foot up and let them scrub the bottom of it, do the same thing, right? Then they're going to rinse me off. Now when you rinse off, you try to use as little as water as possible, because once this fills up, you have to drop a sump pump in it and pump it out, right? So I want to use just only the amount of water that I need to. That has an on and off. When I got somebody in, I got it on. When they step out, I turn it off. Conserving water, also knowing that my container will only hold so much. So once they do this, they're going to spray me off. I'm going to rotate around for it, right? I'm going to make sure I get everything where it's easy for them to get into. Then I'm going to step out. This usually takes about anywhere from a minute to 2 minutes. It depends on, right? We're going to talk about air consumption, right? Our air conservation. Remember, so many minutes to get downrange, so many minutes to get back, so many minutes to go to decon. Subtract that away, and a safety factor in for just the uh-oh moment that happens, and that'll leave what you had to work downrange with. So if you're using a 1 hour cylinder, you're going to say, oh man, I've really got about 15 or so minutes on task, then I'm going to have to start rotating back out. Now if I'm bringing somebody back out, and I want to do an air change, a cylinder change on, this is where I would do that at. I would stop here, they would step out to the side, sit down and pull out of it, change my cylinder out, and then I go back in, I go back down range. If I'm going to take them out of the spot, I'm going to bring them out of it and send them on their way, then I go to the last phase. This last phase of my 3-step is just a rinse, right? I just do a light rinse on them, and then I process them out. When I get them out, I'm taking the suit off, I put the suit in the container, the boots, the gloves that they have, their SCBA on it, I'm dropping that. There's actually another, I should have another one that we'll set up for it that's on there so we can pull back. Yeah, to go back and forth on it. So then we put the SCBA, the respiratory protection, the last thing, and I'll drop it in, and I'll process them out. When they leave here, they'll go to medical. Meaning they'll go to rehab, they'll get fluids, take their blood pressure, make sure the respiratory rate's all good. I'll process them out before I just say, okay, you go on about your way.
So y'all have a group set up on them.
A group is set up, yes. Absolutely. That takes care of all that kind of stuff. Absolutely. That's the people who work. And sometimes you can use your emergency medical services that are coming in. Those are real good people to tap for that. They're in the cold zone, process them out. Okay, go over to the EMS. They'll just take the blood pressure. They'll make sure the pulse rates are good, the respiratory rate's good, and they're not having any effects from the chemical is one thing, but the physical exertion of doing this is a big strain on guys. So you want to make sure that everything's good to go. They've got good fluids on before they process.
It's a whole lot of people in suits out here in the sun.
Oh yeah.
With everything on and not even do anything. Just start down there washing. That's going to take a lot of it. That's a man.
It changes the whole idea on it. Sir, I saw you had a question.
No, you was talking yesterday about you're supposed to run out of air, hurting yourself by turning on and off.
Yes.
Would you be able to just do that, like say you're walking from here to there? Can you do that to save more air?
That process that we were talking about with SCBA yesterday, to be able to conserve your air in an emergency situation, if you're having to do that, make entry into it, you need to reevaluate your entry procedures on it. You'll want to look at a supplied air system or something else. If it's such a distance that you're worried that you're going to run out of air just for the trip down and back, then your plan has a flaw in it, right? And so you want to look to a different way to supply yourself with air, something that's more permanent. Okay, so we have this laid out. Looks about like the diagram that we had upstairs, doesn't it? It's not a complicated procedure, but if you only do it once a year, it's a perishable skill, right? So you want to, when you have drills, maybe a quarterly drill that you want to do, you can come out and set up your decon area. You can do a pre-plan on one of the vessels that you have. What would happen if we had a fork truck that knocked a hole in one of our sulfuric acid barrels? What would happen if we had a leak of cyanide and maybe it came in contact with it, to even ramp it up a little, and it came in contact with sulfuric acid? You know, the release that we have is going to be a little different animal, right? All right, does anybody have any questions about the basic layout of this? So we've got 10 students. I'm going to break it up into 2 groups. So